and welcome to the Made for Business show where Catholic moms come to learn how to build a business that is simple, holy, and profitable. I am your host, Sterling Jakewith, and today on episode 25, we're talking about quarterly reviews. I am a big fan of living my business by quarters. A week feels too short, even a month. But 90 days or 3 months is a really lovely container in my opinion. So I set annual goals, but I really focus more on quarterly goals because I've just lived long enough, my friends, that I know I have no idea what the year is going to bring. I really have no idea. There could be surprise babies. There could be a move that I'm not aware of. There could be, health problems with my parents. You really just have no idea. Sometimes surprise pandemics. Okay, but usually we have a pretty good sense of what's happening in the immediate quarter. And I think that's just a really nice time for our brains to wrap around. Like, okay, 3 months, 90 days. So the first thing you want to do when you're thinking about the quarter is to review the last quarter. Whether you set goals for that quarter or not, you should just take a deep breath, grab a piece of paper, and sit down and evaluate what happened in the last quarter. And for most things that I do, I really only ask 2 questions. What worked and what needs work? Those are really the only 2 questions you need. Sometimes I'll ask a third question. So let's say my quarterly goal. So my quarterly goal this last quarter was $100,000, and I think we're going to come in at 76. Okay, just to give you a sense of what that looks like. And so what I would do is I'm going to sit down and I'm going to write out what worked and what didn't, what needs work. I like phrasing it that way because it just feels a little more positive. And then I will also ask myself about the $24,000 lessons. Okay, so the $24,000 lessons are, why did I not get to 100? Like, what was going on? What did I learn that was worth that much money to me? Because I'm always winning or learning. I really don't think about failures. I'm either winning or I'm learning. And so if I didn't win, if I didn't hit my goal, and notice how detached I sound about it. I'm just like, oh, I didn't hit that goal. I'm not crying about it. It's fine. $76,000 in a quarter is quite amazing. Okay, but why did I not take it to where I wanted it to go? A couple things. One, we're redesigning our website. It Made for Greatness, and that took a little bit longer than we thought, which was great. We're so happy with it, and the process has been amazing. But the more we got into our website and saw how beautiful it was going to look, we really decided to slow our Q1 plans on Facebook ads. So we were going to ramp up on Facebook ads, and we really decided not to do that. So I think that's partly why. And actually, I like our decision, so I'm happy with that. That's another reason. Let me just think about it live with you guys on this podcast. Q1. Yeah, I think I would just go also to, I could have done a better job emailing our list. I always email our list when a podcast episode comes out, but I don't always email our list 1 or 2 times a week outside of that. And I think that's just a big room up for improvement for me, that I could do that. And I think for Made for Business, it's just getting out there more. Right? Telling more people. And one of the things that I did this quarter was sign up to be a writer at Catholic Women in Business and Catholic 365. And I'll probably add CatholicMom.com to that list as well. And I think I fought that for a really long time because I have this belief that I'm not great at writing. And that's true, by the way. It's not my strong suit. I'm not a very skilled writer. I'm much better on video or in a podcast or even a workbook, but writing a thoughtful article in 500 or 700 words is challenging for me. And so I have resistance there. But I got to the place where I was like, I would like more clients. I want more people to know about what I do. What am I willing to do to make that happen? Well, I'm willing to sit in the discomfort of believing I'm not a great writer, which may or not even be true, right? Some of you will read what I write and go, wow, that was really powerful. Am I willing to do that? And so, I probably could have gotten there a little bit sooner in the quarter, but that's something I did accomplish this quarter, and I think that's going to make a big difference for me this year. And so looking at the quarter that you just experienced, what worked, what needs work, what's the $1,000 lesson or the $24,000 lesson? Like if you didn't hit your goal, what did you learn that was worth that much money? And really just sit and pray with the Lord over it. Listen to what he has to tell you. It might be, hey, Sterling, you were really focused on your plans instead of my plans. And I had a big journey with the Lord in this first quarter, and he just taught me a lot about slowing down and choosing him in every moment, right? Not even 3 big times a day, but like every moment. And I feel like I made so much progress there, and I'm so proud of that. And that was totally worth $24,000 to me. Like I'm glad that I didn't meet my goal so that I could learn between Jesus and Faustina and Thomas Kempis, like they were working on me. But listen to how I sound talking about it. This is how I want you to feel no matter what you do in the quarter. And right now I just feel inspired and I feel hopeful. Because when we look at things as lessons, then we're like, great, I just paid that money, got that lesson. I went to business school of hard knocks. And now I have that knowledge going into quarter 2. What are we going to create in quarter 2? And I think this is a good time to revise your goals. I don't like negotiating with goals a lot because our brains have drama around clients and numbers and all of that. And so we don't want to spend lots of energy in that place. But I think the quarter is a really good time to just say, like, what's reasonable for the next 3 months? Whether that's in total sales or clients or even things you want to create. So you might say, all right, in quarter 2, I'm going to launch my podcast or make a website or pitch myself to these 5 people. Right? So then when you're shifting and you're ready to look forward to quarter 2, you're kind of pulling in those lessons that you just learned and saying, all right, how can I really get to work and show up in a more intentional way and in a more Holy Spirit driven way to achieve my goals? And I like this approach because it's not, you're so terrible. It's not hustly. Like if you know you're going to be nice to yourself for not hitting your goals, you don't feel as much pressure to hit your goals. And it's just more enjoyable. And I want that for you because God didn't have you do this business so you could hate yourself. Right? He asked you to do this business so that you would grow. And when you look and see the ways that you grew, regardless of how much money you brought in, you feel successful. Like I definitely was refining myself in quarter 1 on my way to sainthood. And yeah, there's room for improvement there. There's always going to be room for improvement. And that's why I like asking both those questions, what worked and what still needs work, because I'm not afraid to look into what needs work. I'm not afraid to say, hey, I'm not using Pinterest at all. Maybe I should learn about that. Or hey, maybe I'm being a scaredy pants about sending out emails. One of the things that I realized I hadn't done was I hadn't asked any of my business clients for a testimonial. And I felt a lot of resistance doing that. And I noticed that, and it was so interesting to me. Like, oh, why am I scared? But it's a very vulnerable thing to do. Like, it's very exposing to ask the clients that you're working with, would you be willing to give me a testimonial? And I just started business coaching in the fall, so none of my clients have hit their full 6 months yet. And I already can tell that a lot of them are going to keep going. So there isn't really always an end to the coaching, but you can just ask, hey, how's the coaching been? Would you be willing to share a testimonial about coaching? Now, one of my clients in particular, one of my newer clients, is just like crushing it in her business and hasn't made any money yet. And I knew that. So I really wanted a testimonial from her. And I said specifically, hey, I'd love a testimonial that says something like, I haven't made any money yet, but, and then whatever your experience has been of coaching, because we've had so much progress and so much fun, and she's really building this incredible foundation for her business. And she's in a kind of business where like that whole foundation is just going to tip at one point and it'll just blow up. So she's exactly where she needs to be. But I had to have the courage to ask, and it was uncomfortable. And so that was work that I did in the first quarter too, was just being willing to sit in more discomfort. And you guys have heard me say, discomfort is the currency of your dreams. And this is what it looks like. The other thing I just posted in the Made for Business group, we're kind of doing a financial tip every Friday. I'm really encouraging women to be women who know how to manage their money. We understand money. We know how to manage money. We know how it works and where to put it. And so one of the things I encouraged them to do was at the end of the quarter, you can do an export of all of your transactions from your debit card and your credit card. Now, hopefully you'll have a business card and you keep your business expenses separate from your personal one. But if they're mixed, that's fine. Still just export all of the transactions. And then what I do is I put them in a Google sheet and I end up with just the date, the description that comes with the card listing, and the amount. So they're usually a lot more columns, and I delete all of those. Date, description, and amount. And then I add my own column called category. And I categorize my expenses like office supplies, advertising, travel, whatever it is. And then, hang on to your hats, kids. Then I create a pivot table, okay? And if you don't know what a pivot table is, that's totally fine. You probably didn't go to business school because they make you do lots of pivot tables in business school, right? It's very simple. In Google Sheets or whatever spreadsheet thing you have, they will have a pivot table. You could go watch a YouTube video on it. But in Google Sheets, you just click Insert Pivot Table. And then it asks you what you want on the pivot table. And so I say, I want you to pay attention to the rows using the category column. And I want you to pay attention to the amount using the amount column. And then what it does is it just goes through all of it and spits out, this is how much you spent on office, this is how much you spent on travel, this is how much you spent on advertising. And then you can just see kind of where your money is going. And what's really interesting is when you do this, it also forces you to just kind of check in with the things that you're spending money on. Maybe there's a subscription you need to cancel that you don't use anymore. But I like doing this on a quarterly basis, so then when tax season comes around, I'm not like, whoa, I have no idea what I'm doing. And I go through this exercise, you guys, outside of my bookkeeping and QuickBooks. So I do bookkeeping and QuickBooks, but I still do the export transactions and categorize them because it usually takes me an hour, and I just like to see it. I want to touch everything I'm spending money on. I'm not afraid of money. And I want to know how much money is coming in and how much money is going out and where it's going to. So this is another part of reviewing the quarter that I think is really powerful. And it's often a place where we put our head in the sand because it feels uncomfortable. We don't want to look at that. We don't want to know about the money. And so I just want to invite you, as part of your quarterly review process, to look at your transactions. Be willing to be uncomfortable. That is the currency of your dreams. Be a woman who knows how to manage her money. And even if you don't know anything else, you could at least just categorize your expenses and see where it's going. You don't need to understand 401ks. You don't need to understand investments or any of the legal structures of business or tax protection, right? Most of you are not quite there yet, and that's okay. You'll find people to help you when you get there. Okay? But be women who knows what you're spending money on. All right? So don't be afraid of failure. Be willing to do an evaluation. Evaluations make us stronger. You should be evaluating every sales call that you have. What worked? What didn't work? What was my $1,000 lesson? Review your quarter, same questions. And then bonus homework, review your financials as well. All right, you guys, I hope that's helpful. I really want you to learn how to pay attention to goals and money without beating yourself up, without making it mean anything terrible about you, and just knowing that you grew as a saint in that time. You're either winning or learning. You're refining yourself. God is teaching you something, and that can always be a positive thing. All right, you guys, I love you. I'm praying for you. Get to work and have a blessed day.